My name is Pierette Dominica Simpson. I'm an author, speaker, and filmmaker.
Yeah.
I'm home, you're home in Detroit City. There's no place like home. Just tell me what you need. It's all right here, in Detroit. Don't matter what it is, it's all right here. Oh.
As a 9-year-old immigrating to America with my grandparents, I became one of the youngest survivors of the most catastrophic collision in history between two ocean liners, the Andrea Doria and the Stockholm. So frightening being lowered from the Andrea Doria that was sinking into the lifeboat. They tied a rope around my waist and dangled me over the side of the ship, and I couldn't see the lifeboat below because it was dark and it was under the incline. I remember climbing up this, like a Jacob's ladder.
Right.
Just like a skyscraper over the black ocean, and climbing up and up and up and up and up, and then at the small window somebody pulling us in. It was so frightening. Oh my God.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having us
Oh,
here.
my pleasure. Come on in.
So I'm super excited to see some of the artifacts you have in here. So what all are we going to be looking at?
Well, I feel like I've exposed my whole creative life before your eyes here.
Oh my, look at this display. Wow.
We have my books. We have my awards. We also have the posters for the film festivals.
What's this here? What's this binder of clippings?
Well, this is Annie Frank look is me, and that's the forlorn 9-year-old that is on the deck of the Ile-de-France, our rescue ship, after the collision.
Right. I see dishes, I see silverware, and what looks like tile from a room. Tell me about that.
They are very, very precious. Okay, this happens to be a piece of tile from one of the swimming pools on the Andrea Doria. Very unusual for the at the time to have 3 swimming pools.
Do you mind if I hold it? No pressure.
I completely trust you, but it is very, very precious.
Oh my. This is part of history, and part of your history
My
more
history.
specifically. This has got to be just amazing that you have physical pieces of this time in your life. Talk to me about how the things that you experienced starting at the age of 9 have really shaped who you are today, and how writing and sharing your story has evolved into several different art forms for you.
When you're 9 years old, in that period of time, you know, I hadn't seen Titanic, so when people were screaming Titanic on the ship, I didn't know what that meant. My grandparents knew what death was, and death by drowning, and I didn't. So it didn't impact me the same way it impacted them. But I respected their wishes not to talk about it, and I don't think I spoke about it again very much, except for writing a paper in elementary school, until I started teaching high school and telling my students about it. This is really the seed. I wrote the story after doing a presentation at a private school called Detroit Country Day, where I was teaching.
Okay.
I told them about the shipwreck delicately, not going into great detail.
Sure.
And having them run up to me, and the teachers saying, "You must write a book about this, a children's book." They really spurred me on. So I did a lot of interviews for a few years, published Alive on the Andrea Doria in 2006, going into depth about what experience they had before, during, and the aftermath of the collision. And it brings out all of the scientific evidence of what happened during the collision, what caused the collision, and the rescue, of course, and the diving of the Mount Everest of the deep. And then I wrote another one called I Was Shipwrecked on the Andrea Doria, and that's to attract a younger audience to the subject of marine forensics. When I discovered what had really happened, I was very angered, and I think this was what spurred me into writing the book in different parts, not just survival stories,
Sure.
but the scientific component.
Multiple, yeah. Wow.
Well, you have to have a passion for something
Sure.
to get into this work, and I think it was that anger that impassioned me to
That'll
really
do it.
dig
That'll do
deep
it.
and learn naval architecture in English and in Italian to compare what had happened in both countries.
Sure.
I have vindicated the captain through my writings, the crew, the architects of the Andrea Doria.
What
It's
an awesome
correcting
story.
history.
Yeah.
It's about uncovering the real truth that was never published. The Andrea Doria story morphed into the docufilm Andrea Doria, Are the Passengers Saved?
I'm super excited to come to this scene of where you did some of your film for your docufilm.
Background, action.
Well, you've heard the African proverb, it takes a village
Yeah.
to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to do a film shoot, even a small film shoot. I had a lot of my friends participate,
Okay.
which was great. They were amateurs.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in the negative sense
No,
of the word.
but-
They were not professional actors,
And
but
it was
they
a
were
village that came together, like you said, to make it all work.
Exactly. They were so excited to recreate my story.
Background, action.
It was just amazing to see my life coming to life again.
Tell me what it means to you to be a Detroiter and to do this work here in Detroit, to want to film here in Detroit and do the work that you do here.
I'm a Detroiter, even though I was born in Italy, lived there for the first 9 years. I consider myself American as well, and I went to Detroit public schools. For me to give back to Detroit, especially in a creative way, is really, it's a great satisfaction. And seeing Detroit make a comeback, and that maybe I'm considered a little tiny drop of that comeback.
Absolutely you are.
Thank you. That's a real satisfaction. It's very gratifying. I think that having done everything I did has brought me closure, and I'll tell you why. Because my work is a tribute to my grandparents who sacrificed everything to bring me to America. My mother who sacrificed leaving Italy, coming here. My tribute is a way of giving back for that sacrifice. So my books and the docufilm shows in detail what happened that was never published to the public. So that's my legacy, to leave through my art the truth.
I'm home. You're home in Detroit City. There's no place like home. Just tell me what you need. It's all right here. Yeah. In the